Kim Tae-ho stood at the window of the space station and looked at the stars. He had been living on this small station for 2 years now. It was quiet here. Too quiet. But that was what he wanted. After everything that happened, he needed the silence. He was once a famous diplomat. He helped bring peace between three alien species who had been fighting for decades. People called him a hero, but heroes get tired too, and Tai-ho was very tired. The door behind him opened with a soft sound. He did not turn around. He already knew who it was. Admiral Yoon had been sending messages for weeks. Tai-ho had ignored all of them. "You cannot hide forever," Admiral Yoon said. His voice was rough but kind. He was an old man with gray hair and a face full of wrinkles. He had known Tai-ho since he was young. "I am not hiding," Tai-ho said. "I am resting." "For 2 years." Tai-ho finally turned around. "What do you want, Admiral?" Admiral Yoon walked closer and handed him a small data tablet. On the screen was a picture of a beautiful starship. It was long and silver, with smooth lines and powerful engines. Tai-ho had never seen anything like it. "This is the Horizon Dawn," Admiral Yoon said, "the most advanced ship in the Galactic Coalition, and it is yours." Tai-ho looked at the Admiral with confusion. "Mine? I am not a ship commander. I am a diplomat." "You were a diplomat," the Admiral said, "but the Coalition needs something different now. They need a human to lead this ship." Tai-ho put the tablet down on the table. "Why a human? The Coalition has thousands of capable alien officers." Admiral Yoon smiled. It was a tired smile. "Because of the border wars. Because humans showed the galaxy something they did not expect. We are stubborn. We do not give up. We find ways to win when everyone else thinks it is impossible. The Coalition watched us fight, and now they believe humans can do things other species cannot." Tai-ho remembered the border wars. It was a dark time. Earth was attacked by raiders from beyond Coalition space. The aliens thought humans would surrender quickly. They were wrong. Humans fought back with everything they had. They used old weapons, clever tricks, and pure determination. In the end, the raiders fled. "That was different," Tai-ho said. "We were fighting for our home. And now you will fight for something bigger," Admiral Yoon said. "Coalition outposts are being attacked. Ships are disappearing. Nobody knows who is doing this. The Coalition is afraid. They need someone who is not afraid." Tai-ho was quiet for a long moment. He walked back to the window and looked at the stars again. Out there, somewhere, people were dying, and he was here, doing nothing. "Fine," he said quietly. "I will take the ship." Admiral Yoon nodded. "Good, but there is something you should know first." Tai-ho turned around. The Admiral's face looked uncomfortable now. That was never a good sign. "The Horizon Dawn already has a captain," the Admiral said. "She has been running the ship for the past year. The Coalition wants you to be the commander, but she will remain as captain. You will need to work together." "Who is she?" Admiral Yoon took a deep breath. "Her name is Vela. She is Lunari." The name hit Tai-ho like a punch to the chest. His heart stopped for a moment. Then it started beating very fast. Vela. Of all the names in the galaxy, it had to be that one. "No," he said. "Anyone but her." "I am sorry, Tai-ho. The Coalition made this decision. She is the best captain they have, and you are the commander they need. There is no other choice." Tai-ho sat down on a chair. His legs felt weak. Vela, his ex-wife, the woman he had loved more than anything in the universe, the woman who had left him and broken his heart into a million pieces. The Lunari were a beautiful species. They had pale blue skin and silver hair. Their eyes were large and bright, like twin moons. They lived for hundreds of years and believed that love was eternal. When a Lunari chose a partner, it was forever. Tai-ho and Vela had met during peace negotiations 5 years ago. She was a diplomat too, representing her people. From the first moment he saw her, he knew she was special. They talked for hours, they laughed together, they fell in love. Their marriage was beautiful but short. The problem started when Tai-ho was called away on a dangerous mission. The Coalition needed him to stop a conflict that could destroy an entire star system. He had to go. People would die if he did not. But Vela saw it differently. To her, he was choosing strangers over his wife. He was abandoning her. In Lunari culture, nothing was more important than your bond partner. By leaving, Tai-Ho had broken a sacred promise. She ended their marriage 1 month later. She said he did not understand what love meant. She said humans were too selfish to truly commit. Then she walked away, and he never saw her again. Until now. 3 days later, Tai-Ho's shuttle approached the Horizon Dawn. The ship was even more beautiful in person. It floated in space like a silver sword, ready for battle. Park Yunbi sat next to him in the shuttle. She was his oldest friend, a brilliant engineer with short black hair and a quick smile. She had agreed to join him on this mission. "Are you nervous?" she asked. "No," he lied. Yunbi laughed. "You are a terrible liar, Tai-Ho." The shuttle landed in the ship's docking bay. The doors opened, and Tai-Ho stepped out. A group of officers was waiting for him. Most of them were Lunari, with their blue skin and silver hair. They looked at him with cold eyes. And there, standing at the front of the group, was Vela. She looked exactly the same as he remembered. Beautiful, proud, cold. Her silver hair was pulled back, and she wore a perfect white uniform. Her eyes met his, and he saw nothing there. No love, no hate, just emptiness. "Commander Kim," she said. Her voice was flat and professional. "Welcome to the Horizon Dawn. I am Captain Vela. I will show you to your quarters." "Captain," he said. He tried to keep his voice steady. "Thank you." She turned and walked away without another word. Tai-Ho followed her through the ship's corridors. Neither of them spoke. The silence was heavy and painful. When they reached his quarters, Vela stopped at the door. "I want you to know something," she said. Her voice was still cold. "I requested a different commander. I did not want you here, but the Coalition refused my request." "I understand," Tai-Ho said quietly. "We will work together because we must," Vela continued. "But that is all. Whatever we had before is dead. Do not expect anything from me." She walked away before he could respond. Tai-Ho entered his quarters and sat down on the bed. He put his head in his hands. This was going to be the hardest mission of his life, and it had nothing to do with the enemy waiting in the darkness of space. The Horizon Dawn moved through space like a ghost. Its engines were quiet and its lights were dim. Inside, the crew worked in perfect order. Everyone knew their job. Everyone followed Captain Vela's commands without question. Tai-Ho watched them from the observation deck. He had been on the ship for 3 days now, and he still felt like a stranger. The Lunari crew members looked at him with distrust. They whispered to each other when he walked past. They did not believe a human should lead them. He could not blame them. Lunari were proud people. They had been traveling through space for thousands of years before humans even knew other planets existed. To them, humans were young and foolish. Dangerous, perhaps, but not leaders. Park Yunbi found him standing alone by the window. "You look terrible," she said. "Thank you for your kindness," Tai-Ho replied. Yunbi stood next to him and looked out at the stars. "The crew is talking about you. They say you are weak. They say you hide in your room." "I am not hiding. I am thinking." "About her?" Tai-Ho did not answer, but his silence was answer enough. Yunbi sighed. "Listen to me, old friend. I know this is hard for you, but you cannot let the past control you. You are the commander of the ship. If you do not act like one, the crew will never respect you." She was right, of course. She was always right. That was why Tai-Ho trusted her more than anyone else. "I will try," he said. "Do not try," Yunbi said. "Do." That evening, Tai-Ho went to the bridge. The crew looked surprised to see him. Vela was sitting in the captain's chair, studying reports on her screen. She did not look up when he entered. "Report," Tai-Ho said. His voice was calm and strong. Vela finally raised her eyes. There was something like surprise in them. "We are approaching the Kirin sector. The Coalition lost contact with 3 outposts in this area. Our mission is to investigate. Any signs of the enemy?" "None yet." Tai-Ho nodded. He walked around the bridge, looking at the different stations. The crew members became nervous as he passed them. Good. They should know that he was watching. He stopped next to a young Lunari woman. Her name was Nira, and she was Vela's first officer. She was tall and serious, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "First Officer Nira," Tai-Ho said, "what do we know about these attacks?" Nira glanced at Vela before answering. Not much, Commander. The outposts were destroyed quickly. There were no distress calls, no survivors. Whoever did this was fast and efficient. And powerful, Tejo added. Those outposts had defense systems. Someone broke through them like they were nothing. Yes, Commander. Tejo turned to face the whole bridge. I want full sensor scans every 30 minutes. If anything moves out there, I want to know about it. We are not going to be surprised. The crew looked at each other. Then they looked at Vela. She gave a small nod, and they began to follow Tejo's orders. It was a small victory, but it was something. Later that night, Tejo could not sleep. He kept thinking about the past, about Vela, about everything that went wrong. He remembered the first time they met. It was at a peace conference on a neutral station. 3 species were fighting over territory, and diplomats from all over the galaxy had come to stop the war. Tejo was young then, only 30 years old. He was nervous and excited. Vela was standing by the window, looking at the stars. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Her blue skin glowed softly in the light. Her silver hair fell past her shoulders like a waterfall. He walked up to her without thinking. The stars are beautiful tonight, he said. She looked at him with curiosity. You are human. Yes, is that a problem? No, just unusual. Humans do not usually talk to Lunari. Why not? Because most humans are afraid of us. She smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. You do not seem afraid. I am not, Tejo said. Should I be? She laughed. It was a soft, musical sound. No, I do not bite. They talked for hours that night, and the night after that, and the night after that. By the end of the conference, they were inseparable. Their marriage happened quickly. The Lunari elders were not happy. They said humans were unreliable. They said the bond would fail, but Vela did not care. She chose Tejo, and for a Lunari, that choice was eternal. For 2 years, they were happy. They lived together on a small ship, traveling between worlds. They laughed together, cried together, dreamed together. Tejo had never known such peace. Then the call came. A star system on the edge of Coalition space was about to explode into war. Millions of lives were at risk. The Coalition needed their best diplomat. They needed Tejo. He told Vela he had to go. She begged him to stay. She said he had already given enough to the galaxy. She said it was time to choose their life together. But Tejo could not ignore the people who needed him. He left that night, promising to return soon. The mission took 3 months. 3 long, terrible months of negotiation and fear. But in the end, he succeeded. The war was stopped. Millions of lives were saved. When he came home, Vela was not there. She had left a message. Her voice was cold and empty. She said he had proven what kind of person he was. She said humans could never truly love anyone but themselves. She said their bond was broken. Tejo tried to find her. He sent hundreds of messages. He traveled to Lunari space. But she refused to see him. Her family told him to leave and never come back. He never stopped loving her. But she had already erased him from her heart. A knock on his door pulled Tejo back to the present. He opened it and found Choi Jin-woo standing outside. Jin-woo was the ship's tactical officer, a young human with eager eyes and a soldier's posture. He was only 25, but he had already fought in 3 battles. Commander, Jin-woo said, I wanted to introduce myself properly. I did not have the chance earlier. Tejo smiled. Come in. Jin-woo entered the room and stood at attention. I want you to know that I believe in you, sir. I know the Lunari crew has doubts, but I have read about your career. What you did during the border wars, what you did as a diplomat. You are exactly the leader this ship needs. Tejo felt something warm in his chest. It had been a long time since anyone believed in him. Thank you, Jin-woo. That means more than you know. I also wanted to warn you, Jin-woo continued. His voice became serious. The crew is divided. Some of them respect Captain Vela too much. They will follow her orders, even if those orders go against yours. You need to be careful. I understand. Jin-woo nodded. I am with you, Commander, whatever happens. After Jin-woo left, Tejo sat alone in the darkness. He thought about what lay ahead, an unknown enemy, a hostile crew, and a woman who hated him leading the ship. But he also thought about Jin Woo's words, about belief, about hope. Maybe this mission would destroy him. Maybe he would fail. But he was done hiding. He was done running from his past. Whatever came next, he would face it standing tall. The destroyed research station floated in space like a broken skeleton. Pieces of metal drifted slowly through the darkness. Fires still burned in some sections, fed by leaking oxygen. It was a terrible sight. Taeho stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn and stared at the destruction. Next to him, Vela was silent. Her face showed no emotion, but her hands were tight on the arms of her chair. "Scan for survivors," Taeho ordered. The sensor officer, a young Lunari named Kyle, worked quickly at his station. "Commander, I am detecting one life sign, very weak, Section 7 of the station." "Send a rescue team immediately." Vela stood up. "I will lead the team myself." Taeho looked at her. "Captain, your place is on the bridge." "My place is where I am needed," she said. Her voice was hard. "I know that station. I have friends there. I will go." For a moment their eyes met. Taeho saw something behind her cold mask. Pain. Fear. She was not just a captain doing her duty. She was a person who had lost people she cared about. "Very well," he said. "Be careful." Vela left the bridge with a small team of soldiers. Taeho watched her go, feeling a strange worry in his chest. He pushed it away. He could not afford to care about her. Not anymore. 20 minutes later, Vela returned with the survivor. It was a lunary scientist, an old man with burned skin and terrified eyes. The medical team rushed him to the hospital section of the ship. Taeho met Vela in the corridor outside the medical bay. "What did he say?" Taeho asked. Vela's face was pale. "He said they came from nowhere. Ships that appeared out of darkness. No warning, no communication. They just attacked." "What kind of ships?" "He does not know. He said they were black, like shadows. Their weapons cut through the station's shields like paper." Taeho felt a cold feeling in his stomach. What kind of enemy could do this? The coalition had powerful defenses. These research stations were built to survive attacks. "We need to report this to the coalition," Vela said. "Not yet. We need more information first. If we tell them now, they will order us to retreat. I want to know what we are fighting." Vela opened her mouth to argue, but the alarm cut her off. Red lights flashed across the ship. The sound was loud and terrible. "All hands to battle stations." Kyle's voice came through the speakers. "3 unknown ships decloaking off our port side." Taeho and Vela ran to the bridge. Through the main window they could see them. 3 ships, black as night, appearing from nothing. They were shaped like knives, sharp and deadly. "Shields up," Vela shouted. "Power all weapons." The Lunari crew moved with perfect speed. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. But Taeho could see the fear in their eyes. These were not normal enemies. The black ships fired first. Bright red beams cut through space and hit the Horizon Dawn. The whole ship shook. Sparks flew from damaged systems. "Shields at 70%, someone shouted. "Return fire," Vela commanded. The Horizon Dawn's weapons answered. Blue energy blasts flew toward the enemy. But the black ships moved impossibly fast. They dodged most of the shots with ease. "They are too quick," Nira said. "Our targeting systems cannot keep up." Another hit. The ship shook again. A panel exploded near the back of the bridge. 2 crew members fell down, hurt. "Shields at 40%. Vela's face was tight with concentration. "Execute evasion pattern Delta 7. The ship began to move in a complicated dance, trying to avoid the enemy fire. It was a standard Lunari battle tactic, designed by their greatest military minds. But the black ships seemed to know exactly what the Horizon Dawn would do. They kept hitting them. "Shields at 20%. Taeho watched the battle unfold. His mind was racing. The Lunari way was not working. They were fighting with calculation and order. But this enemy did not follow any rules. He needed to do something different, something crazy. "Helm!" Taeho shouted. "Turn directly toward the enemy ships." Everyone on the bridge stopped. Vela stared at him like he had lost his mind. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Trust me," Taeho said. "Helm, full speed ahead. Head straight for the center ship." "Commander, that is suicide," Nira protested. "Do it now." Tejo's voice was like thunder. The helm officer looked at Vela. She hesitated for one terrible second. Then she gave a small nod. The Horizon Dawn turned and charged directly at the enemy. The black ships fired again and again, but they were not expecting this. Their shots went wide as the Horizon Dawn closed the distance. "Jinwoo," Tejo called. "When I give the signal, fire everything we have at the center ship. Everything!" Jinwoo's hands were ready on the weapons controls. "Yes, Commander." The enemy ships tried to scatter, but it was too late. The Horizon Dawn was already among them. "Now!" Jinwoo fired. Every weapon on the ship released at once. The center black ship exploded in a ball of fire. The blast wave hit the second ship and damaged its engines. "The debris field!" Tejo shouted. "Hide in the debris from the research station. They cannot track us there." The Horizon Dawn dove into the floating wreckage of the destroyed station. Metal pieces scraped against their hull. It was dangerous, but it worked. The two remaining enemy ships stopped chasing them. For a long moment, everyone on the bridge was silent. They watched as the third enemy ship grabbed its damaged partner and retreated into the darkness. They were leaving. "They are gone," Kyle said quietly. The crew erupted in cheers. They had survived. Against impossible enemies, they had survived. Tejo let out a long breath. His hands were shaking. He had not been sure his plan would work, but it did. The human way of fighting, unpredictable, wild, crazy, and effective. Vela walked up to him. Her face was unreadable. The whole bridge became quiet again, watching them. "That was reckless," she said. "You could have killed us all, but I did not. You ignored all protocols. You went against every military strategy we have." "Your strategies were not working," Tejo said calmly. "Sometimes you need to throw away the rules." Vela stared at him for a long time. Then slowly something changed in her eyes. Not warmth, not forgiveness, but perhaps respect. "You were right," she said. The words seemed to hurt her. "Your plan worked when ours did not." Behind her, Nira stepped forward. "Commander Kim, I owe you an apology. I doubted you. I was wrong." Other crew members nodded. The distrust in their eyes was fading. They had seen what a human could do. Tejo looked at Vela. "We make a good team, Captain, when we work together." Something flickered across her face. Memory, perhaps. Pain. But she pushed it away. "We have a job to do," she said. "Let us focus on that." She turned and walked back to her chair. The moment was over, but something had changed between them. Tejo could feel it. Park Yunbi appeared at his side. She had been in engineering during the battle, keeping the ship running. "That was insane," she whispered. "And brilliant. Very human." Tejo smiled tiredly. "We are not done yet. Those ships will come back. And next time, there will be more of them. Then we will be ready," Yunbi said. Tejo looked out at the stars. Somewhere in that darkness, an enemy was waiting. An enemy that could destroy stations and disappear like smoke. He did not know who they were or what they wanted, but he would find out. And when he did, he would make them regret ever attacking the coalition. The wreckage of the destroyed enemy ship floated in the cargo bay of the Horizon Dawn. Engineers and scientists moved around it carefully, studying every piece. The technology was unlike anything they had seen before. Tejo stood with Vela and watched them work. 3 days had passed since the battle. The ship was repaired, the wounded were healing, and the crew was restless. Everyone wanted to know who had attacked them. Park Yunbi walked over with a tablet in her hands. Her face was pale, and her eyes were wide with shock. "I found something," she said. "You are not going to like it." "Show me," Tejo said. Yunbi held up the tablet. On the screen was an image of a symbol. It was carved into the metal of the enemy ship. A circle with sharp lines cutting through it, like claws tearing through flesh. Vela made a small sound. Her hand went to her mouth. "You recognize it," Tejo said. "Yes." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Every child in the galaxy knows that symbol. It is the mark of the Vorath." The name meant nothing to Tejo. "Who are the Vorath?" Nira answered. She had joined them without making a sound. The Vorath were a species that lived thousands of years ago. They believed they were superior to all other life. They started a war to destroy everyone else. They wanted the galaxy for themselves. What happened to them? The ancient civilizations united against them. There was a terrible battle. The Vorath were defeated and destroyed. Every last one of them. Nira's voice shook slightly. Or so we believed. Tai-Ho looked at the symbol again. Are you saying they survived? They have been hiding for thousands of years? It seems impossible, Vela said. But the evidence is here. That symbol, their technology, the way they attack without warning or mercy, it matches the old stories exactly. A heavy silence fell over the group. The Vorath, an ancient enemy that was supposed to be dead. Now they were back, and they were attacking the Coalition. We need to tell the Coalition immediately, Vela said. They must prepare for war. Tai-Ho shook his head. If we tell them now, they will panic. They will order all ships back to core worlds for defense. And that is exactly what the Vorath want. What do you mean? Think about it, Tai-Ho said. Why attack small outposts? Why not strike the major worlds directly? They are testing us. They are learning about our defenses. If we retreat now, we give them time to prepare. When they finally attack, we will not be able to stop them. Vela crossed her arms. So what do you suggest? We fight an ancient enemy with one ship? No. We find out where they are hiding. We get information about their strength, their numbers, their plans. Then we take that information to the Coalition. And how do we find them? Tai-Ho pointed at the wreckage. We track the ship that escaped. It was damaged. It will leave a trail. Yunbi nodded slowly. That could work. Their engines use a unique type of energy. I can modify our sensors to detect it. Do it, Tai-Ho said. Vela looked at him with something like disbelief. You want to chase an enemy that nearly destroyed us into unknown space, with no backup, no support. Yes, that is madness. Maybe, but it is also our best chance. For a long moment, Vela said nothing. Tai-Ho could see the conflict in her eyes. She was a captain who followed rules and protocols. Everything about this plan went against her training, but she was also a warrior. She knew that sometimes rules had to be broken. The crew will need to vote, she finally said. I will not force them into a suicide mission. Fair enough. That evening, the entire crew gathered in the main hall of the ship. Lunary and humans stood together, their faces serious. Tai-Ho stood at the front with Vela beside him. He explained everything. The Vorath, the danger, his plan to track them to their hiding place. I will not lie to you, he said. This is dangerous. We might not come back. If anyone wants to leave, there is no shame in that. We can drop you at the nearest station. The crew was silent. People looked at each other, uncertain. The fear was thick in the air. Then Choi Jin-woo stepped forward. I am with the commander. Humans do not run from fights. Park Yunbi joined him. Neither do I. Someone has to keep the ship running. One by one, other humans stepped forward. Then slowly the Lunari began to join them. Kyle, the medical officer, the engineers, the soldiers. Finally, Nira walked to the front. She stood before Vela. Captain, she said, I have served with you for 5 years. I trust you with my life, but today I also trust Commander Kim. I believe in this mission. Vela looked at her crew. All of them had stepped forward. Not a single person remained behind. Something changed in her face. The coldness melted just a little. She turned to Tai-Ho. It seems we have our answer, she said. We will follow your plan, Commander. Tai-Ho felt a wave of emotion, pride, gratitude, hope. This crew, who had doubted him just days ago, was now willing to follow him into the darkness. Thank you, he said. All of you. I promise I will do everything in my power to bring you home. The meeting ended, and the crew returned to their stations. The Horizon Dawn began its hunt. Late that night, Tai-Ho went to the observation deck. He needed to be alone with his thoughts. But when he arrived, he found Vela already there. Standing by the window, he started to leave. Wait, she said. Her voice was soft, different from her usual cold tone. Stay. He walked to stand beside her. They looked at the stars together, just like they used to do long ago. I was wrong about you, Vela said quietly. When we were married, I thought you chose your missions over me because you did not love me enough. I thought humans were incapable of true commitment. Taeho said nothing. He waited for her to continue. But watching you today, seeing how you fight for this crew, I understand now. You did not leave because you did not love me. You left because you loved others too. Because you could not let innocent people die. She turned to face him. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears. I was selfish, she said. I wanted you all to myself. I could not accept that your heart was big enough to care for the whole galaxy. Taeho felt his own eyes burning. Vela, I should have explained better. I should have made you understand. Instead, I just left. That was my fault. We were both wrong. Silence stretched between them. Years of pain and regret hung in the air. Then Vela did something unexpected. She reached out and took his hand. I do not know what will happen tomorrow, she said. But I want you to know that I do not hate you. I never did. I was just hurt. I know, Taeho whispered. I was hurt too. They stood there hand in hand, watching the stars. They were not back together. The wounds were still fresh. But something had begun to heal. Whatever waited for them in the darkness, they would face it together. The trail led them to the edge of known space. For 7 days, the horizon dawn followed the faint energy signal left by the damaged Vorath ship. Each day took them farther from Coalition territory. Each day brought them closer to the unknown. Taeho spent most of his time on the bridge, studying star maps and sensor data. The crew worked in shifts, keeping the ship ready for anything. The mood was tense but determined. They all knew what was at stake. On the 8th day, Park Yunbi called an emergency meeting. I found them, she said. Her voice was serious. But there is a problem. She put an image on the main screen. It showed a dying star, its surface covered with massive explosions. Around the star was a ring of superheated gas, glowing red and orange. The Vorath base is inside the corona of that star, Yunbi said, hidden in the radiation zone. The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the image with disbelief. That is impossible, Nira said. Nothing can survive that close to a star. The heat alone would destroy any ship. Normal ships, yes, Yunbi said. But the Vorath are not normal. Their technology is thousands of years more advanced than ours. They have found a way to survive inside the corona. Vela leaned forward in her chair. Can we follow them? That is the problem. Our shields cannot handle that level of radiation. We would be dead within minutes. Taeho stared at the dying star. His mind was working fast. There had to be a way. Humans had always found ways to survive impossible situations. What about heat shielding, he asked. The kind we use on our ships when we fly close to stars? Yunbi shook her head. Our standard shielding is not strong enough. We would need something much more powerful. Can you build it? Yunbi was quiet for a moment. She looked at the star again, doing calculations in her head. Maybe. It would take all the spare metal on the ship. We would have to strip parts from non-essential systems, and even then, I am not sure it would work. How long? 12 hours, maybe more. Do it, Taeho said. Use whatever you need. Yunbi nodded and left the bridge. She took half the engineering team with her. The rest of the crew watched her go, knowing that their lives depended on her work. The next 12 hours were the longest of Taeho's life. The ship buzzed with activity. Engineers ran through the corridors carrying pieces of metal. Sparks flew from welding torches. The sound of hammering echoed through the walls. Choi Jin-woo used the time to train the crew for combat. He did not know what they would find inside the corona, but he wanted everyone ready. Lunari and humans practiced together, learning each other's fighting styles. Old divisions began to disappear. Taeho helped where he could. He carried supplies to the engineering section. He checked on the wounded from the earlier battle. He talked with crew members, learning their names and their stories. By the end of those 12 hours, he knew every person on the ship. Finally, Yunbi called him to the engineering bay. She was covered in grease and sweat, but her eyes were bright with pride. It is done, she said. She showed him the modifications. Thick layers of special metal now covered the outer hull. Cooling systems had been added to every critical area. It looked rough and ugly, but it was strong. This is based on old Earth technology, Yunbi explained. The kind we used when we first started exploring our solar system. Other species thought it was primitive, too simple. But sometimes simple is best. Taeho smiled. Humans have always been good at surviving with less. We have about 30 minutes of protection once we enter the corona. After that, the shielding will fail and we will cook. Then we will have to be fast. Tai-ho called the crew back to the bridge. He explained the plan. Enter the corona, find the Varath base, gather information, and get out. Simple in theory, almost impossible in practice. I will not pretend this is safe, he said. Most experts would say we are crazy to even try. But humans have never let experts tell us what we can and cannot do. We have walked on moons. We have traveled to other stars. We have done impossible things because we refused to accept that anything was truly impossible. He looked at the Lunari crew members. I know your people have a different philosophy. You believe in careful planning, in following proven methods. But today I ask you to trust in the human way. Trust in hope. Trust in courage. Trust in the belief that we can do things that have never been done before. Nira stood up. Commander, I have studied humans for many years. I always thought your species was reckless, dangerous. I did not understand why the Coalition valued you so much. She paused and looked around at the other Lunari. Now I understand. It is not recklessness. It is faith. You believe in yourselves and in each other. And that belief makes you stronger than any weapon. She put her hand over her heart in the Lunari gesture of respect. I am honored to serve with you, Commander Kim. Other Lunari repeated the gesture. Tai-ho felt a lump in his throat. Vela stood up from her chair. She walked to Tai-ho and faced him directly. The whole bridge watched in silence. When I was young, she said, my grandmother told me about the Vorath. She said they were the embodiment of evil, creatures without mercy or compassion. She said if they ever returned, the galaxy would burn. She took a deep breath. But she also told me something else. She said that when darkness comes, heroes will rise to fight it. They will be scared. They will doubt themselves. But they will fight anyway, because that is what heroes do. Vela took Tai-ho's hand in front of everyone. You are that hero, Kim Tae-ho. You always have been. I was just too blind to see it. Tae-ho squeezed her hand. I could not do this without you, without all of you. You will never have to. The moment passed, but its power remained. The crew returned to their stations with new determination in their eyes. Fear was still there, but it was smaller now. Hope had grown larger. Helm, Tae-ho said. Take us in. The horizon dawn moved toward the dying star. The light grew brighter and brighter. The temperature inside the ship began to rise. Warning alarms started to sound. Shields holding, Yunbi reported from engineering. Barely. The ship entered the corona. Outside, fire surrounded them. Waves of heat slammed against the hull. The metal groaned under the pressure. 28 minutes of shielding left, Yunbi said. Through the flames, Tae-ho could see something. A shadow in the fire. As they got closer, the shadow became clearer. It was a station. Massive. Black. Covered with weapons and docking ports. And around it, filling the corona like a swarm of insects, were hundreds of Vorath ships. By the stars, Nira whispered. Tai-ho stared at the fleet. Hundreds of ships, each one as powerful as the three that had nearly destroyed them. If this fleet attacked the Coalition, nothing would survive. We have to destroy them, Tai-ho said quietly. All of them. Here. Now. Vela looked at him. That is suicide. Maybe, but if we run, if we report this to the Coalition, they will send a fleet, and that fleet will walk into a trap. The Varath will destroy them, and then they will destroy everything else. He turned to face the crew. This is our chance, our only chance. We can destroy their fleet before it is ready. We can save billions of lives, but it will cost us everything. The silence was heavy. Everyone understood what he was saying. This was a one-way mission. Vela stepped forward. She looked into Tai-ho's eyes. Then we die together, she said, as it should have always been. She kissed him, soft and sweet and full of everything they had lost and found again. When she pulled away, there were tears on her cheeks. I love you, she whispered. I never stopped. I love you too, Tai-ho said. Always. He turned back to the screen. The Vorath fleet waited. Death waited, but so did hope. All hands, Tai-ho said. Prepare for battle. The plan was simple and insane. Park Yunbi would turn the Horizon Dawn's reactor into a bomb. When it exploded, the blast would destroy the Varath station and most of their fleet. But for that to work, the station's shields had to be down. That was where Choi Jin-woo came in. "I will take a team inside the station," Jin-woo said. "We will find their shield generator and destroy it. Once the shields fall, you can trigger the reactor." Tae-ho shook his head. "It is too dangerous. You will be trapped inside when the station explodes." Jin-woo smiled. It was the smile of a young man who had accepted his fate. "Commander, I knew the risks when I joined this mission. Every person on this ship knew the risks. Let me do this. Let me give my life for something that matters." Tae-ho wanted to argue. He wanted to find another way, but there was no other way. Time was running out. The Varath would notice them soon. "Take volunteers only," Tae-ho said. His voice was rough with emotion. "And Jin-woo, thank you. It has been an honor, Commander." Jin-woo gathered his team. 20 soldiers, Lunari and human alike, loaded into a small shuttle. They carried explosives, weapons, and enough courage to face an army. The shuttle launched from the Horizon Dawn and flew toward the station. The Vorath ships were still, not yet aware of the threat. The shuttle slipped between them like a fish between rocks. On the bridge, everyone watched in silence. Vela held Tae-ho's hand so tight it hurt. "They made it inside," Cal reported. "The shuttle docked successfully." "How much time do we have?" Tae-ho asked Yunbi. 15 minutes of shielding left. Maybe less. 15 minutes. Jin-woo had 15 minutes to find and destroy the shield generator. Then they would all die together. The first alarm sounded 5 minutes later. "The Vorath know we are here," Nira shouted. "Ships are launching." Outside, the black ships began to move. Dozens of them, then hundreds, swarming toward the Horizon Dawn like angry insects. "Evasive action," Vela commanded. "All weapons, fire at will." The battle began. The Horizon Dawn danced through the fire of the Corona, dodging enemy weapons and returning fire. The ship shook with every hit. Consoles exploded. Crew members screamed as they were thrown from their stations. Tae-ho stayed at the center of the bridge, giving orders. His voice was calm, even as chaos surrounded him. This was what humans were good at. Fighting when there was no hope. Finding strength when everything was falling apart. "Target the lead ships," he shouted. "Break their formation." Jin-woo's voice crackled through the communication system. "Commander, we found the shield generator. Heavy resistance. We are fighting our way through." "How long do you need?" 5 minutes, maybe more." "We will give you that time. Just get it done." Tae-ho turned to the helm officer. "Fly us toward the station. Draw their fire away from Jin-woo's team." The Horizon Dawn charged forward. Enemy ships scattered, confused by the direct attack. Some crashed into each other. Others were destroyed by the ship's weapons. But there were too many. For every ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place. "Shields at 30%, Yunbi reported. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. "Keep fighting," Tae-ho shouted. "We just need a little more time." A massive explosion rocked the bridge. Tae-ho was thrown to the ground. His head hit the deck, and for a moment, everything went dark. When he opened his eyes, Vela was kneeling over him. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead, but she was alive. "Tae-ho, are you okay?" He pushed himself up. "I am fine. Status report," Nira answered, though her voice was weak. "Weapons are at 50%. Engines damaged. We have about 5 minutes before total shield failure." Tae-ho looked around the bridge. Half the crew was wounded. Fires burned in several stations. The main screen was cracked but still working. Outside, the battle continued. The Varath fleet circled them like wolves around wounded prey. "Commander," Jin-woo's voice came through the speakers, "the shield generator is in sight, but there are too many guards. We cannot get through." "Jin-woo, listen to me," Tae-ho said. "You can do this. You are the best soldier I have ever known. I believe in you." "Commander, No. No goodbyes. Just fight. Fight and win. That is an order." Silence. Then Jin-woo's voice came back, stronger now. "Yes, sir. Jin-woo out." The seconds ticked by like hours. The Horizon Dawn took hit after hit. The shields flickered and failed. Metal melted. Systems died. Nira fell at her station, wounded by flying debris. Vela ran to help her, pressing her hands against the wound to stop the bleeding. "Stay with me," Vela shouted. "Do not die." Nira looked up at her captain with fading eyes. It has been an honor, Captain. No, you are not dying today. That is an order. Tejo watched them, his heart breaking. So many good people, so much sacrifice. This had to work. It had to mean something. Then the lights changed. The Vorath station flickered. Its weapons went silent. The shield around it shimmered and disappeared. The shields are down, Kyle shouted. Jinwoo did it. Relief flooded through Taiho, but there was no time to celebrate. Unbi, is the reactor ready? Yes, Commander, on your order. Taiho looked around the bridge one last time. These people had followed him into hell. They had believed in him when no one else did. He owed them everything. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve with you, he said. All of you, Lunari and human. We came from different worlds, but today we are one crew, one family. He took Vela's hand. Unbi, start the overload sequence. Then get everyone to the escape pods. We have 2 minutes to get as far away as possible. Unbi's voice was confused. Commander, I thought we were staying. I thought this was a one-way mission. Tejo smiled. I never said that. I said it would cost us everything. Our ship, our mission, but not our lives, not if I can help it. He turned to the helm officer. Full speed ahead. Ram us into the station. Then everyone abandon ship. The crew stared at him in shock. That is impossible, Nira said weakly from where she lay. We will never make it to the escape pods in time. Yes, we will. Humans are very good at running when they need to. For a moment, no one moved. Then Vela started to laugh. It was a strange sound in the middle of battle, but it was beautiful. You crazy human, she said. You wonderful, impossible human. Is that a compliment? Yes. Now let us get out of here before I change my mind about loving you. The crew moved. They ran through burning corridors and over fallen debris. They carried wounded friends on their shoulders. They did not give up. Tejo was the last to leave the bridge. He set the helm to automatic, aiming the ship at the heart of the Vorath station. Then he ran. The escape pods launched just as the Horizon Dawn crashed into the station. The reactor exploded half a second later. The blast was like a new sun being born. Fire swept through the corona. Vorath ships vanished by the dozens. The station crumbled and broke apart. The entire fleet, hundreds of ships, was consumed by the explosion. Taiho watched from the escape pod window. Vela was beside him, holding his hand. Behind them, the surviving crew members cheered and cried and held each other. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had done it. The Vorath threat was not completely destroyed. Some ships had escaped, but their invasion fleet was gone. The coalition would have time to prepare, and somewhere in the fire, Jinwoo and his team had given their lives so others could live. Heroes. True heroes. Taiho whispered a prayer for them. He did not know if anyone was listening, but he said it anyway. Thank you, he said, for everything. The fire slowly faded. The corona returned to its normal chaos, and the escape pods drifted through space, carrying the survivors toward home. The rescue ships found them 3 days later. The escape pods had drifted far from the dying star, carried by solar winds into open space. Inside, the survivors rationed their food and water. They told stories to pass the time. They laughed and cried and remembered those who did not make it. When the coalition ships arrived, they did not believe what they heard. A single crew had destroyed an entire Vorath fleet? Impossible. But the evidence was there. The recordings from the escape pods showed everything. The battle, the sacrifice, the victory. The survivors were brought to the coalition headquarters on the great station called Unity. It was a massive structure, home to millions of beings from hundreds of species. Here, the leaders of the galaxy gathered to discuss the future. Taiho stood before the Grand Council. Representatives from every member species filled the Great Hall. Their eyes were on him, waiting to hear his story. He told them everything. The attacks on the outposts, the return of the Vorath, the decision to pursue them into the corona, the battle that destroyed their fleet. When he finished, the hall was silent. Then the applause began. It started small, just a few hands clapping. Then more joined. Soon the entire hall was thundering with sound. Species that had never agreed on anything were standing together. honoring a human who had saved them all. The High Chancellor, an ancient being with silver skin and wise eyes, approached Taeho. "Commander Kim," she said, "the Coalition owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You and your crew have given us a chance to survive. The Varath are not completely gone. We know some ships escaped, but thanks to you we have time. Time to prepare. Time to build defenses. Time to unite." She held out a medal. It was made of gold and crystal, shaped like a star. "This is the beacon of unity," she said. "It has only been given 12 times in the history of our coalition. It is for those who show extraordinary courage and sacrifice. You are the first human to receive it." Taeho looked at the medal. It was beautiful, but it felt wrong in his hands. "With respect, High Chancellor, I cannot accept this." Gasps went through the crowd. The Chancellor looked surprised. "The victory was not mine alone," Taeho said. "It belonged to my crew, Lunari and humans fighting together, engineers who built the impossible, soldiers who gave their lives so we could succeed." His voice broke slightly. "Choi Jin-woo and his team died inside that station. They are the real heroes, not me." He looked around the hall. "If you want to honor someone, honor them. Honor Park Yunbi, who kept our ship running when everything was falling apart. Honor First Officer Nira, who stood by us even when she did not have to. Honor Captain Vela, who taught me that working together is more important than being right." He found Vela in the crowd. She was standing with Yunbi and Nira, who had recovered from her wounds. All of them were crying. "I am just a man who got lucky," Taeho said. "The crew of the Horizon Dawn is the reason we are alive today." The Chancellor smiled. It was a warm smile, full of understanding. "Then we will honor all of them," she said, "and we will honor the ship itself. The Horizon Dawn may be destroyed, but its name will live forever. A new ship will be built, bigger, stronger, and it will carry that name across the stars." The crowd cheered again. This time Taeho let himself smile. After the ceremony, there were meetings and interviews and celebrations. Everyone wanted to meet the human who had saved the galaxy. Politicians offered him positions of power. Admirals offered him command of entire fleets. Corporations offered him wealth beyond imagination. Taeho refused them all. "What will you do instead?" Admiral Yoon asked. The old man had traveled from Earth to see him. His eyes were filled with pride. "I want to go back to the stars," Taeho said. "There is still work to be done. The Varath are out there somewhere, rebuilding. When they return, I want to be ready." "You cannot fight alone." "I will not be alone." Later that night, Taeho met Vela on the observation deck of Unity Station. The stars spread out before them, endless and beautiful. It was their place now. Every important moment seemed to happen under the stars. "The Lunari Council spoke to me today," Vela said. "What did they say?" "They questioned my decision to stay with you. They said it was improper for a Lunari captain to have a relationship with a human commander." She smiled slightly. "I told them that I did not care what was proper. I told them that humans had taught me something important." "What is that?" "That love is not about perfection. It is not about following rules or meeting expectations. Love is about choosing someone again and again, even when it is difficult. Especially when it is difficult." She turned to face him. "I choose you, Kim Taeho. I choose you today, tomorrow, and every day after that, until the stars burn out and the universe goes dark." Taeho felt his heart fill with a warmth he had not known for years. He took her hands in his. "I choose you too," he said. "I never stopped choosing you. Even when I made mistakes, even when I hurt you, you were always the one." "We were so foolish," Vela said. "We wasted so much time." "Then let us not waste any more." He pulled her close and kissed her. It was not like the desperate kiss during the battle. This was soft and slow, full of promise instead of fear, a beginning instead of an end. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. "So," Vela said, "what happens now?" "The Coalition is building a new Horizon Dawn. They want me to command it. And I told them I would only accept if you were the captain." Vela laughed. "You want to work with your ex-wife again?" "You are not my ex-wife anymore," Taeho said. "Not if you will have me." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a ring. It was simple, made of silver metal from Earth, with a small blue stone from Lunari space. I know we tried this before, he said. I know we failed, but I am different now. We are different. We know what matters. We know how precious life is. He got down on one knee. Vela, will you marry me? Again? Tears streamed down her face, but she was smiling. Yes, she whispered. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He put the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. They stood together, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, danger was waiting. The Varath would return. New threats would emerge. The galaxy would need heroes. But for now, in this moment, there was only peace. Where should we go first? Vela asked. When the new ship is ready? Tejo thought about it. There were so many places to explore, so many people to help, so many adventures waiting. Wherever the galaxy needs us, he said. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Together? Always together? The stars twinkled in the darkness. Somewhere a new ship was being built. A new crew was being assembled. A new mission was waiting. The story of the Horizon Dawn was not over. It was just beginning.